And we're live. Well, not live. We're recording.
It is recording though.
Eventually, we might go live. That'd be fun, but not now.
I mean, we could definitely.
That could be interesting. Frames being dropped. Thanks. It's a good start.
Oh, it shouldn't be, but
So just to make sure, because I'm not the tech guy, during all of this, we are still recording. Correct?
yep.
Okay. All right. Just wanted to make sure. Well, so this is the second rendition of the Try Hard Entertainment Podcast. There was three of us, and then there was two. Maybe we will get that third back, but he stays pretty busy, so
Yep.
so that may not be an option. But on this podcast, we're going to talk about, I guess, primarily movies, video games, a lot of Marvel stuff, a lot of comic book stuff. Well, I don't really want to say comic book because it's probably just going to be mostly Marvel. We may do some DC or something. Might even tap into some anime. John, how much anime do you watch?
Oh, I do watch some. It's been a while since I have.
Well, we might tap into that. I think just our interest, our like interest, is what we're going to talk about. We don't have too much set in stone. We're kind of winging this thing. We did a few practice recordings when it was the three of us. But again, now a lot has changed, and we're not doing any more practice. We're diving in head first
Oh yeah.
into the shallow end. And today, I'm just gonna keep rambling while John's figuring out some kinks. We're gonna talk about Spider-Man, Far From Home, and probably get into some other Spider-Man stuff. Spider-Man is,
Oh god.
I think he's tied for first. Holy smokes! Yeah, I like that right there.
The old western stuff.
I think Spider-Man for me is tied for first as my favorite comic book hero. Him and Superman. I think Superman's he's too OP to not be my favorite. I mean, the only thing that can stop him is something that's not on Earth, except for these weird storylines that bring it to Earth. But whatever.
Yeah.
And so we're going to talk about Far From Home. Probably talk about Homecoming. We'll talk about, the Tobey Maguire movies and the Andrew Garfield movies, and may go in not much because I'm still playing through the Spider-Man PS4 game, but maybe we'll touch on that a little bit. I can definitely tell you about the first boss fight. I have made it past that.
Oh, in the game.
Yeah. So I guess spoilers. Spoiler warning. If you haven't seen, if you're not really caught up in the Marvel
The MCU.
But so where should we start? Do you have everything? Are you good over there?
It should be. Yeah.
Man, we didn't introduce ourselves. I'm Nathan. I'm a 29-year-old video game, sports, movies, music lover. And I think I'm pretty fly. And so, your turn.
I am Jonathan. I am a part-time variety streamer. I love video games.
Sorry, I keep rolling backwards.
love music. Uh, been doing both pretty much my whole life. And now we're getting started on the podcast, so this is the first podcast with this current setup.
Mm-hmm. And we're gonna, I mean, like I said earlier, we're just winging it. So I think we're down for some criticism, some critiquing. We could use pointers. I don't want to speak for John, but I know I have no idea what I'm doing. I listen to podcasts, but yeah.
And at the end of the podcast, like plug any type of links that you want people to check out.
I'll definitely be throwing my Twitter out because I've had Twitter for like 8 years, and I think I have like 100 followers, and that's kind of laughable. I almost wish I hadn't admitted that.
Oh, I mean, gotta start somewhere. When? Wow, that just says my birth. Oh, I've had it since 2015. I joined on Twitter.
I joined 2011.
Wow.
Yep.
Well,
But I didn't really get into it until about 2 or 3 years ago. I kind of had it and would tweet from time to time, but
I was gonna say that's another thing too, and depending on like communities that you get into and whatnot.
all right. Well, I'll just get out of the way now. My Twitter handle is at infamous wannabe. That's the letter N, the word famous, the word one, UHB, infamous wannabe. I think that's why people don't follow me, is because nobody knows how to spell it. That's got to be it. That's the only reason. There's no other reason that a lot of people don't follow me.
Well, another thing.
Literacy is the reason.
Another thing that could make it worse is if you had an underscore in it.
I don't.
No, I'm saying that would make it worse too.
Oh.
That's one thing some people have problems with, is if they have to have an underscore in their name.
I started it. I tried doing like this whole network thing. Like I made my Xbox gamer tag was infamous wannabe. My PlayStation, I changed it. No, I changed my Xbox one. It used to be Nate's Famous Hot Dog. And then I changed it to infamous wannabe. And my PlayStation one's always been infamous wannabe. And my Twitter is infamous wannabe. My Instagram, which I never get on, other than to post pictures of my daughters. So you can follow me there too if you want to see cute little babies.
Only one, my PlayStation one has been the same since forever. Only one I ever changed was my Xbox, when they let you do it.
Yeah.
Just because the
name,
just
after they give you like the generic one, and they give you like a free change.
Or when they give you a free change, because the name that I used to have for my Xbox that I won't say on the podcast.
What was it? Should I know what it was?
It started with a C, and it was like a stupid nonsense name. Just because when I created it, my friend
Come
was
at
like,
me, bro. 1987. When were you born?
88.
Damn it.
But like when I created it, my friend was like, "Oh, you got to create something that's that is stupid and funny."
Just do it, YOLO.
But yeah, that's why I eventually changed it when it gave you the opportunity. Just for the sake of some people were just like, "What is with that name?"
What was the name? Text it to me. Yeah, I tried doing this whole like network thing because that's when I was pretty decent at Halo, and I kind of thought to myself like, man, I could do something here. So I kind of wanted to make this whole network thing and just have one name so you could go anywhere and it would be me. And I don't know. I think maybe work got in the way or something, but I very quickly. Oh yeah. Yeah, I remember that. I like that name.
Oh,
it
got some reactions, but when I started doing stuff more seriously, it was like,
right. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Oh, sorry. can't call your wife, ma'am. Sorry, bro.
Bruh. No.
No.
But yeah.
But then I kind of I stopped playing Halo, and I think I might have gotten out of video games for a little bit, at least like competitive stuff. So yeah, it never really took off, but I've stuck with it, and I really had the dream of people just calling me Infamous. It was like Infamous wannabe, and I wanted people to be like Infamous. Didn't work out. It's never gonna work out. Now I'm like much more busy than I was then. It's been hard enough getting linked up to do a podcast.
Yeah.
These last few weeks.
But I mean, that's what I did with a lot of my other stuff, like Twitter, Twitch, YouTube, stuff like that, to try to make it consistent. Actually, my Instagram as well, to make it consistent across the board.
Yeah.
So it'd be easier for people to find it.
Yeah, it's just the same thing.
It's
You
just my
need to know
gamer.
the one name.
It's just my gamer tags on PlayStation and Xbox.
Can we say your former gamer tag?
I don't know how people would take it, but
Is there anyone out there that's like that in love with Smurfs that they're going to be offended by that?
I don't know. This was like when I was, God, how old was I?
Younger. That's how time works.
I was like my young teens when I created. Well, no, God, no. Well, when did I? No. It was
No.
I didn't have it when it was the Xbox One, did I? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I definitely
It was
remember.
like the 360 era, I think.
Yeah, I remember I remember playing Halo.
So no, it was at
And you had
least
that name.
2007 or after. So I was actually almost 20s. Because I remember buying my own Xbox 360. Because that's when I had was working and could do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was probably still mooching off my parents.
Because mine was usually like video game consoles for like Christmas gifts and stuff. For the longest time until I started working.
360 came out in like 2005, right? November 2005.
Yeah, because it was already out when.
It was out a year before PlayStation, PS3.
I don't exactly remember, but I know. Like, it was already out when I started working, because like I had started working at Sam's Club.
Yeah. So I was 15 when the Xbox 360 came out, so it was definitely a Christmas gift for me, because I mean, I wasn't working when I was 15. Some of you people were. Not me.
People were. I weren't
Not
either.
me.
I didn't till I was out of school. Like, I graduated and started working right away.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I was kind of like the whole like Peter Parker, smart but lazy type thing. So I was too addicted to video games and music.
I'm waiting for you to finish those web shooters.
And video games and music and school to focus on all of that and a job. It's like,
Yeah.
sometimes my grades would slip.
I was just a piece of shit.
Like,
I
literally, my
was
punishment.
lazy. I mean, I didn't even do anything. I played like sports in school, but I mean, it was school and then I guess like practice and stuff. But I also did I hung out with my friends a lot, rode bikes, skateboards, whatever. I had a few jobs. I remember I worked at McDonald's when I was 15. That lasted like 3 weeks. I just didn't want to work, man. I was useless when I was a teenager.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't play no sports with schools. I just did it for the fun of it.
Yeah, we'll supplant, it was music for you, and what was music for you was sports for me.
Yeah.
And I think everything else is fairly similar.
Yeah.
Although I think undoubtedly you were more responsible than me as a teenager.
Probably. And also...
Probably still.
And probably
actually.
also because, in school, if my grades slipped, and especially if it was a D, my parents would be like, you gotta watch your grades, gotta pull it back up, what's going on. But if I came home with an F, they would give me a chance to bring it back up if it didn't, Like I would literally lose like television privileges, and
Mm-hmm.
like they would literally either take the power cord or the whole console out of my room for video games, and I could not play video games till my grades came back up. So I was like, nah, I won't. I want video games too much.
My mom tried to ground. She would do all that too. She'd take everything out of my room.
So I'd make sure I try to like keep my grades up so I wouldn't lose the video games. So
I'd be grounded to my room with no TV, no video games, and I would just crawl out of the window.
I'll say you were one of the...
hop on my Haro bicycle and go down to my buddy's house.
You were one of those kids.
Yeah, and she'd come pulling up in the Trailblazer, honking her horn, cussing at me. I mean, it's me and like it was a big, pretty solid group of friends over at my mom's house that I had over there in the like surrounding neighborhoods and stuff. So it'd be like 6, 7 of us, and she'd just like pull up on the side of the highway, get your fucking ass in this car. Just in front of everybody. And I would honestly turn to my friends and be like, I'll see y'all in like 20 minutes. Because all I was going to do was just crawl right back out the window. I feel bad for my mom. She toughed it out, though, man. She persevered.
Oh. My dad would have killed me if I did that. My mom would have gotten pissed, but my dad would have killed me. Because like, he was strict like his mom was, so he was like
I
hard hammer.
I remember growing up. All right, eventually we're going to get into some entertainment stuff, but I think the beginning podcast, whatever, we'll just tap into some personal stuff. I remember growing up, like your dad just terrified me. Like he rarely spoke any words to us. Joe would always be smacking his bushes with sticks, and he'd get very angry about it.
And when he got old enough, like the plastic lightsabers and
the man took care of his yard, put a lot of time and effort and labor into his yard, and he would get mad at us if we did anything.
Oh, my dad.
Yeah.
For the yard, yeah. Which, yeah.
And I
think
we
we grew up having to help, like, mow the grass, which I actually need to do mine now, but it's been storming so much lately. And
yeah, it's crazy. Like, I feel like I just mowed mine. We've had so much rain the last week or 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah.
It just keeps. Yeah. I took my girls outside earlier, and I was like, oh. They went out in the yard. I couldn't find them.
Marco.
But yeah. All right, you ready to dive into this thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so Spider-Man: Far From Home,
which has been out for a while now, because this episode again, well, pushed back quite a lot because of when it was originally 3 of us, and then when we decided to continue on with it, and you had some stuff come up when we were supposed to record it, so like it's been pushed back a few times.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll go ahead and let you guys know now, and I'm probably gonna let you know a lot because it's hard for me because I have twin daughters. They're almost a year and a half at this point. They're right around like 17 months, and
which is hard to believe.
That is hard to believe. I had freaking Snapchat memories. You know, it tells you what you took a picture of a year ago, and it's crazy to me that my daughters have been in my Snapchat memories. Like, it's already been over a year. It's just nuts. But yeah, so they just keep me really busy. I sent John a heartfelt message last week appreciating his patience because he has been very patient, especially with when it was the 3 of us and we were trying to do this, and there was like a big debacle.
What was it? Primarily, well, over a few things, but also the name, I guess.
Yeah, the name was a big one. We just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Could I have handled it differently, John? Yes. Yes, I could have, but I was frustrated. It took us way too long to think of a name. We didn't want to post until we had a name, and we weren't talking about a name, and I got aggravated. Because, I mean, and it goes with all of us, really. Like, the time is so limited. Like, our windows are so limited because we're all so busy. And just wanted to, like, get it done, and it didn't seem like any progress was being made.
Full-time jobs.
Yeah, my panties got all in a bunch. And now it's the 2 of us. But again, we're holding out hope. Because I think the dream team is all 3 of us. But Joe's obviously the weak link, so you got the 2 strongest ones. No, I'm kidding.
Like, I was the same way, though, but I kind of just stayed back out of it.
Yeah, that was a fun thread. Going back and forth. I could only imagine you just like, just ding, 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 phone going on.
I was like, I agree with that side, and it's like, damn. And I was like, well, yeah, it brings up a good point, too. It's like, so I saw it from both sides, but it's like, it was interesting to sit there and watch it. It's like, wow.
We, for the audience, all three of us grew up together. I mean, since same street, since we were, like, kid, before, like, elementary school. Like, kids.
Like, one name idea I threw out for the name was kind of a joke, but it was also just like, it is possible, but he took it like, didn't want to get any confusion, like a gang-related thing, even though it's like...
Which one was that? Gang-related?
The Peachtree Boys, remember?
Oh.
We the Peachtree Boys.
Yeah, we the Peachtree Boys. Hang you upside down and jiggle all your chains out of your pockets. Yeah. Oh, Joe.
That was classic.
Oh, Joe.
Was it? Did he post that one as a private video?
Yeah.
On YouTube.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
Because like the last one we recorded, that
if we shared the link that he sent to us, can people use that to watch our previous podcast?
I think.
I feel like it should work that way, but maybe the link has to come from him. I don't know.
I've never tried, but yeah, like because the very last one that we recorded was supposed to be posted. It was supposed to be going live.
And then
but then the name issue came up, and
and
I never even got to see, like, I never got to go back and watch that because of all that, because he never posted it even as a private video.
Oh yeah. Yep. Adult life, man. Adult life. Too busy. Especially when, if the small, slim chance that people actually take a liking to us and this goes somewhere and then we can do this, along with some other stuff related to this, kind of sticking with like video games and stuff, like your streaming stuff, then we can stick to it and it'll be better. But having to work outside of it for your income makes it hard. At this time, this is just a hobby, and we will do it when we can. But we're gonna try to make it a regular thing for sure.
I mean, that's why I was consistently streaming so much. That's why I came up with a set schedule to stream on, and one that would work better. And obviously, with working a full-time job and trying to stream too, like, I didn't want to like overdo it and then be missing streams every time you turn around because I'm too burned out from work. So it's like that's why mine is like every other day. So it's like it kind of spreads it out so I have more time to like rest.
But we're here. We agreed on a name that is going to leave it open for a third person.
It originally started out as 3.
If we can get him back, it is Try Hard Entertainment Podcast. TRI-HARD. Looks like we have a third participant that's willing, who is upstairs.
Which, as you all may notice right now, it's just kind of in my basement. That's where my setup is. But it's where I stream, play video games, music too. But usually on my streams, I use the camera that's on this monitor. That's directly ahead of me, and I use the green screen that is actually right here. So nobody usually ever sees what's behind me.
Let us know if we should use a green screen. Also, send us cool pictures to put on the green screen. But no nudity.
Oh, yeah. Especially if it's like streaming on Twitch, it's definitely TOS.
Send us pictures of your pets. Let's do that, John. You want to do that? You want to have random people's pets? Like if you like subscribe to our YouTube channel, which has not been created yet, but it will be. And
well, with that, I've been kind of holding off till like finishing, like getting a finished logo up.
Yeah.
So it could be like a photo for the YouTube channel, but for now, I would just like post it on mine.
Okay.
And probably upload it to Twitch as well.
Man,
try to
if
get
we,
more eyes out as far as like video goes and
Yeah.
stuff.
if we can get like really fluent with this, and then get to a point where we can go live.
And try to get more people that watch it and get them over then to the YouTube channel of its own.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh, we're going places. This is happening. I need to get rid of my daughters.
18
I'm
years.
kidding. Yeah. So we'll see. Thanks for joining the first podcast, and we'll see you again when my daughters graduate and leave the house. You gonna have kids, John? We're not talking about anything entertainment, but I just want to know. We're gonna get to it. Maybe.
Yeah.
Should I ask Fran?
I mean, she definitely wants them, but yeah.
She wants kids. That's the opposite, like with Joe and Amber. Like,
But
Joe wants kids, and Amber's like, I'm not ready, which I get. She's kind of progressing through her career.
Yeah.
So she wants to hold off. But it sucks, man, because, like, you guys, my daughters are going to have to marry some random person's kid, and I don't like that. I don't like that.
But it's like I told her, though. It's like usually it happens when you least expect it, and when you don't want it to happen is when it happens.
Yeah.
At least most people I've known, it doesn't happen when you're trying to plan it. It makes it like harder,
Mm-hmm.
and usually it's like when the people that are trying take a break from trying, it ends up happening. Or like I think in your situation, it was just kind of like surprise.
Yep. It just happened.
It's like not even trying, wasn't even a thought. Then all of a sudden I'm pregnant.
Nope.
What?
I was just trying to
All right.
practice as much as I could, and it made perfect. And now I have babies.
Hit that home run.
Sure did.
Apparently no strikes, but yeah.
No strikes. I don't know what you mean by that, but
Well, I mean, apparently it didn't take long for you to bring twins into the world, so.
I mean, like, according to what, though? I was 27 when they were born.
Well, I mean, with the one person that you.
We were hanging out for, like,
Um,
over a year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't
Yeah.
know the whole. That deep into it, but.
We can totally turn this into the Try Hard personal podcast. I don't know. I need more time to think of a name.
Oh, no, I mean, the podcast is pretty
I
much
will tell
about.
you all about my life.
I mean, this is like a podcast about anything and everything. Like
Yep.
even sports.
Oh, man, if you want to tap into that. Well, it is the entertainment. It's an entertainment podcast.
Yeah, we can do
So
that.
that leaves us wide open. Wide slam open. You don't know what you're going to get.
Movies, video games, music, sports. Basically, you name it.
I'm down for that. See, I told you guys, like, we're just doing this. Like, we don't,
I mean, there's
we're
always
kind of winging it.
there's always good subjects that come up, and it's like, yeah.
My Cowboys are playing their first preseason game tonight. All right. This is the first game of our 2019 Super Bowl run.
Mm-hmm.
And we all know it's going to happen.
I mean, I've always been personally Tampa Bay, but
All right, well, they suck. So,
oh, yeah. I mean, they haven't been. Well, I mean, they've been to Super Bowls a lot less ago than the Cowboys, but yeah. It's been
I
a
mean,
while
not much.
now.
It was
but
like 2002, I think, the last time that they went. And they won. I mean, which, yeah, is more recent. But anyway. So, we still have 5.
yeah, which I'm actually at work. Nick asked me if I wanted to join that fantasy football thing.
You know what's irritating about that? It's apparently like exclusively first shift.
I think they were trying to.
Oh, they didn't.
Trying to see if they could get as many people on first shift first, since it'd be easier,
Oh.
obviously,
Well, yeah,
for
that they definitely
everybody
did.
to see each other. Obviously, since it's the same shift, but
All right, so you didn't join.
no, I did.
You did join. Okay, so tell me, because they were gonna have a live draft.
I mean, I've never done it before. I told Nick that. I was like, I've never done the whole fantasy football league. Or
well, you're
anything,
gonna win. That's what happens.
But
I feel like anytime there's someone new, they just like take it by storm, and it pisses me off. I don't want to join anymore.
because he said like Vinny had never done it either, and he didn't have a clue what he was doing, but he did it anyway.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, sure, what the hell.
You just kind of like, you look up like Matthew Berry, ESPN, and you just kind of follow what he says, and then you might be all right. Some of the Pro Football Focus guys, and yeah, you'll be all right. Just kind of listen to some advice. But I mean, like, no joke, that's the way that it seems to work. Is somebody just jumps in, and they do pretty well. Maybe not win it, but make the playoffs.
Yeah,
Knock out some of the bigger football nerds like myself.
Which I saw you post on, I think it was with Twitter, about trying to get a league together.
I did Twitter and Facebook. We currently have 10. I want to make it a 12-team league.
Which I don't know if you can do. Like, if you can, I don't know if you can be in multiple leagues.
You can. You can pretty much do as many as you want.
Is it the Yahoo one, or is it like the whole DraftKings one?
Well, DraftKings is a weekly thing. They might have a season. I don't know, but that's
Or do you use the Yahoo one?
Betting. I use ESPN.
I use the ESPN one.
Yeah.
Oh,
ESPN.
see, they use the Yahoo one. I had to create like a Yahoo account just to sign up for that.
Yahoo
fantasy football.
is my least favorite one of like the big three to me is ESPN, NFL.com, and then Yahoo. And Yahoo's my least favorite. But those are the season long. And but you can like there's a buy-in, right?
You can make it a buy-in.
But I mean for the one at work.
They made it one, but
right.
Nick
but
said
yeah, you can do free ones. That's what
they usually do it, which they weren't going to, but apparently like Vinny and Lacey wanted to do it this time as a buy-in, which I was like, because Mike was supposed to be in it on first shift, and then he backed out when he found out it was like a buy-in, and he asked me if I still wanted to be in it, and I was like, when he said it was going to be a buy-in, he goes, if you want to still be in it, it's like, I'll pay your buy-in, and then if you win, like, you can just give me that back, which was like $20.
Dang, yeah, that's what my
league
league is. It's $20.
I'll give it a try then.
Which is super small. There are leagues that it's like $1,000 to play, but when you win, it's like serious bank.
Which I think I don't remember how much he said it would be. Like if you won, I think he did the math.
It would depend on how you split it up. Like the way I did mine.
Because it was like $20 each person is 10 people on the.
Yeah, so you got $200 bucks.
Yeah, it's like 200.
Some people.
And he said like if I were to win like the 200, it's basically just give him $20 back for it for.
So are they doing winner takes all?
I believe so. From the sounds of it.
The way I did mine, or the way I tried to do it, one of the people didn't pay. So I had to knock it down a little bit. But the way I was going to set mine up was it's $20, and last year was 10 people, so I had it set to where winner takes $150, second place takes $50, and then that's it. And I was in another league that was set up where it was $25 a person. It was 10 people, so $250 pot. The winner took $225, and second place got their buy-in back, so you got $25 back. But nice. I mean, it just depends on how you want to do it. And then I've been in leagues where winner takes all. I've also been in leagues where they give third place. Third place will get their buy-in back. Second place gets a little bit more. Then first place gets, vast majority.
Nice.
But yeah, man. I mean, if you need tips, I'm here for you. Have I won a championship in a money league? No. But do I make the playoffs? Also no. No, I'm kidding.
That's why I didn't know.
I make the playoffs pretty frequently. Pretty much every year. I'll do like 2 or 3 leagues every year, and I'm in the playoffs in pretty much every league every year. But I cannot win a championship.
How many people do y'all actually have on second shift?
6.
Never mind, then it would only be, if everybody were to do it, it'd be 6 people in the league.
Yeah, teams would be stacked.
And less than that for third shift.
Yeah, 3 people. Should be company. But yeah, so I mean, if you need any tips, man, holler at me. I got you. I would try to help you out.
Definitely.
Because I'm all about it. I'm really into it. Again, not championship material, but I mean, I'll lose in the championship. I can't take home that grand prize.
So basically like the Cowboys and Tampa
So
Bay.
Spider-Man, Far From Home.
Don't worry, Tampa Bay and the Bills.
All right, so perfect segue there.
Which actually, have you played a new Madden?
I've been out of Madden. We can talk about video games. That's part of the podcast. About 2 years now, I've been out of Madden because it just kind of, I don't know. When you play games like MLB The Show,
I mean, like I don't.
And NBA 2K, like they're just the franchise modes. I love doing franchise modes, like online or like offline. But
like I've considered doing it. Like, I mean, I haven't played. Oh God, I haven't played a Madden game since I think 360 era generation. I think
they're adding like some player perks or whatever you want to call it, in Madden 20.
Which I know that just came out like last week. Not this past week, but the one before.
Yeah. Yeah, my brother was like, he was on that train quick. He got that game immediately. But yeah, I have not bought a Madden. I may have bought 18 actually, but I know if I did, I didn't play it much. I know for sure I bought 17. Did not buy 19. 100% did not buy 19. But it's to me, it's too much of the same game with just updated rosters, and franchise mode is too simple. It's too cut and dry, and I want it to be more deep. Like a thing that happened with Ezekiel Elliott, running back for the Dallas Cowboys. He didn't report to camp by August 6th, so he's not going to accrue this fourth season towards his free agency, which means he'll be like a restricted free agent. Mm-hmm. So Dallas could match any offer. If he accepted another team's offer, Dallas could match it, and they would retain the rights to him or whatever. But it's rules like that. Like I in my Madden games, I was talking to my cousin about this the other day. I would love to see holdouts. Like in the preseason training camp stuff, man, I would love to do contract negotiations, holdouts, like the Zeke thing, and then situations like, all right, he didn't report to camp by a certain time, so then he didn't get that fourth accrued season. So come free agency, he's not going to be unrestricted. He's going to be a restricted free agent. I want that stuff in the game. Mm-hmm. And MLB The Show has a lot of I'm not too knowledgeable with how baseball works. It's huge with all the farm systems and stuff, minor league teams, but they're just a lot more detailed. It's a lot more in depth with kind of building a team. And NBA 2K series is the same way, using bird rights and just stuff like that. But yeah, Madden's too cut and dry, so it just got boring.
I mean,
it's basically this is how much money you have, so you can offer the player this much money.
Yeah.
And yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't buy it every year. I bought when I used to. It was every few years I'd buy it because it was just too minimal of upgrades, of what they put into it. Besides upgrading the graphics every game somewhat, and the rosters, but I was like, it's just not worth $60 every single year.
Yeah. Yeah, it got to a point where it was just feeling like a cash grab because you're releasing the same game, kind of mildly upgraded graphics, and just updated rosters, but essentially the same game year after year. And this year they're trying to add a few things, but years past they've also tried to add little small things, and to me it just couldn't keep me. And I love football; it is my favorite sport. Close second is basketball, and then it's kind of a drop off, but love football. So pretty much the only football game we have with in the NFL license, it cannot keep me hooked. That's how little I think of that game. It's my favorite. Well, not by far my favorite sport, but it's my favorite sport. Love football, and I can't stay into the games. It's just too much of the same thing. I really wish 2K would bring back their NFL series.
Yeah,
because that was a lot of fun. I think the last one they made was 2K5. So 14 years ago, 15 years ago. Good night.
Have you played a lot of the MLB games?
I love the show. I don't watch baseball. I think it is incredibly boring. But but I love the show series. I've bought the show every year since like 16. That's when I got hooked. It was 2016.
I say, isn't that like the main MLB games? Is like
I think it's
show?
I think it's the only game that has the MLB license. I think I might be wrong about that because again, not super into baseball.
Yeah.
But I got into it because everybody would say like this is the like number one like sports game. Like it's great. Like that and then EA's FIFA.
Yeah.
And soccer would be my third favorite sport, so I'm really into FIFA. But yeah, so that's why I got into the show and I like it. I'm still kind of learning it.
Yeah.
How like the whole doing a franchise with that stuff works, but
Like
it's fun.
Like I've considered even like on my streams to get a sports game like that and like start doing seasons like that on the game. Cause it's one streamer I watch. He's a big like Division guy, so he streams a lot of Division. But then like he started streaming a lot of like the MLB
Who is it?
show. I am Janko.
No. I've seen him on Twitter.
Yeah. He started getting big into the MLB show, and he streams it a lot every like week, usually at some point.
There's
because I think he's doing like the seasons, like the franchises and stuff.
yeah, and you can do like a my player thing where it just focuses on your one player. You can play like third base or left field or whatever, shortstop. You can be a pitcher. You can be a starter or a closer.
Because I don't think I've ever played an actual MLB game on console. I played basketball games and football games, but I don't think I've ever played baseball ones.
EA Sports made like MVP Baseball, and I think the last one before I played the show 16 was MVP Baseball 2005. And I think that was just on like Xbox, the original Xbox, the OG.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still kind of upset about I'll never forget that on the original Xbox and the PlayStation, the like PS1. I had both those consoles and traded it into what was it, the Newer Prairie Pools, is that on Fort Hill Village?
Yeah.
It was the like I think Collector's Lair or something.
Mhm.
It's like I never played them like when I got like Xbox 360 and stuff like that. Like I never went back and played those, so I just didn't want to collect in dust. I knew like they would give it a chance to get in a home with somebody that would play it, since I never touched them because I really never had an urge to. But shortly after I sold it to them and my games and everything I had for it, it's like the freaking place burned down.
Yeah.
It's like, well, there goes what I just sold them like not that long, less than a year ago. It's like, which I highly doubt was sold within that amount of time, which means it burned to the ground with it. I'm just like, what the hell? I was so
at least
upset.
it serves some sort of purpose. Kindling is.
I was gonna say, what, ignition for the fire?
It's better than Dust Collector.
Yeah.
Probably not. I mean, on one you're on fire, but
I mean, when those were the main consoles the main generations, I definitely played the crap out of them. That's for sure.
But yeah, I mean, if you want to, because I've seen a few like of the big time streamers, Gold Glove is one that plays MLB The Show.
Yeah. I think I have seen him do it.
Yeah, he always does one of those My Player, like pretty much every year when it comes out.
I
he does
know
like the My Player thing.
Like I know when Days Gone came out.
Or Road to the Show. It's My Player in 2K, but Road to the Show in the baseball game.
Yeah. Like I know when Days Gone came out, he streamed that. Like he was like one of the. I watched his stream, and that's like what made me like want to get the game, which I still need to actually go back and continue playing it.
You gonna 100% it?
That's a lot to do.
My buddy texted me earlier this week, I think, or maybe last week, and asked me if I'd played it. And I was like, no, but I've seen it played.
Like that was,
And,
like I saw him play it before I bought it. That's what like solidified me buying it because I was like already like I really want to get that game, but it's like part of me. I was just like, ah. But then like he got it, I think early before it was actually released or something.
mhm.
Like he got sent a copy of it and was streaming it, and I was like, okay, I'm definitely more intrigued now. Okay, now I'm definitely gonna get it.
Yeah, my buddy told me that it was a lot of fun. And I know you had told me you liked it too.
Oh yeah.
So it'll be a game I never check out.
But I mean, like recently, it was just a lot of games that was just like one after another that would come out of big names, and it was just so many of them. Like you'd get them, and you're trying to bounce back and forth between them all, but you can't.
Mm-hmm. I am
I mean,
struggling.
unless I could sit down and like be a full time streamer and content creator, and that be my career,
That'd be the life.
then I
The
could
dream.
definitely have the time to actually go through all of those games at a time and make videos and streams of them and actually fully beat them. Oh god.
Uh-oh. Okay. Our screens went black.
I hope I
And
don't
again,
know.
me not being a tech guy, I got a little worried. But John's on the case. He's figuring it out. He's going to take off that little screensaver. Is that what you're doing?
Yeah.
Nailed it.
I forgot
Nailed it.
I actually forgot it. I didn't think it would actually still do it with
Yeah. With all that.
you actually
Going
doing
on.
something with the computer when plugged
Yeah.
in.
Bastard.
Never.
Bastard. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I guess this is like a really good example of when we first started recording, talking about how we're just trying to get into it because I have kept bringing up Spider-Man and then we venture into something else. So this is the thing. We're doing Spider-Man right now.
I was gonna say we can go into it. Yeah.
Me being that way is what caused the third person to leave. We're doing it now. So I've learned my lesson. I will pump the brakes. John, should we go into Spider-Man now?
Yeah.
Goddamn right. All right, here we go. All right, Far From Home, release date July 2nd, 2019. Am I right about that?
I believe it was. I'm pretty sure.
I should do better research. I think I got it, though. I'm confident. Give it to me, John.
Was it?
Do it. John doesn't know how to Google.
No, I did. I just typed in the wrong thing. What? Oh, that's Japan, June 28th. So
Japan got it first?
Yes, indeed. July 2nd. Yeah.
Yes. Yeesh. Nailed it. Okay, so I'll just start off by quickly saying that I loved it. And I have to burp. But yeah, so I loved it. It was, oh my gosh. It was a really good movie.
My opinion, the best one yet.
The best one of the Spider-Mans?
Yes.
Or, okay, I don't know if you're going Spider-Man or just like all of the MCU.
I don't know. Endgame would be kind of hard to top.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah, Endgame is pretty phenomenal.
But yeah, as far as the Spider-Mans go, that's definitely
Thor
my
2
favorite.
is also up there. No, I didn't like the Thor movies. Ragnarok was okay, but
Ragnarok kind of like revived the Thor movies,
Yeah.
I think, because the second one is
I,
kind of
I need to watch that again because I'm the only one of people I've talked to, and it might just be because the first two Thor movies I had such a strong distaste.
The
But I
first
think I
one
need to
was
watch
good.
Ragnarok again. You like the first one? I didn't like the first
the
one.
second one kind of just.
The second one I think is. We can agree that's probably the worst. right? Or
Yeah,
that is the worst of MCU is the second Thor.
A lot of people said that, and then the third one kind of like completely revitalized the Thor series.
And now we got Love and Thunder. Is that what it is? Coming out with Natalie Portman.
It's gonna be Lady Thor.
Mm-hmm.
And then Thor,
which I have. I downloaded the Marvel Unlimited app. It's it's $10 a month, and they have what they advertise like over 25,000 comics, and so I'm going to get into the storyline of this female Thor. Do they call her Lady Thor? Is that like the actual thing, like She-Hulk, She-Thor?
Yeah, I believe so.
But yeah, so I've got them kind of like bookmarked, I guess, for lack of a better term. I'm gonna read the Miles Morales.
Yeah.
That's like 181 comics in his storyline.
So it's actually that one.
Yeah.
That you have to pay a subscription for, though.
It's $10 a month, but yeah. So I've got these that I'm currently reading or whatever, and then I've got I don't know how to. I still got to learn. I guess downloads maybe. No, library. Yeah, library. But yeah. So far, I haven't gotten into it as much as I want. I need to take. I mean, I have time to read the comics. They're just comics are so short.
Oh yeah.
I mean, just each individual one. The storylines can be fairly long, but yeah. So I don't really have an excuse for that. I need to do better about that. It's like I pay for something and I just want to throw my money away. But yeah. So Spider-Man: Far From Home. In my opinion, well, you said it, but I agree with you. Like, it's the best one, and all the side, including the Tobey Maguire trilogy, and then the Andrew Garfield, and Tom Holland, just crushes it.
But it's like I said before, like the original, the Tobey Maguire Spider-Mans were good, but even when the first one came out, I just wasn't fond about how they made his webs come out of his wrist. Like, he could just go like that, and they would come out of his wrist naturally.
Right, like it's shooting out of his vein.
Yeah. Versus the comics and cartoons, it was an actual
web shooter. Yeah.
What was it? I think it went into that route with Andrew Garfield's. Wasn't it?
Just using the web shooters?
Yeah, he actually had the web shooters.
Andrew Garfield had web shooters.
And then the Tom Holland one actually went even further than that with how it actually is with the actual web shooters and how you can run out and have to actually refill it.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I loved about those is they actually got that right. It wasn't like it naturally. He could just produce it naturally and it'd be unlimited for him. Mm-hmm. It's and it can be destroyed.
Yeah.
Whereas the old one, the Tobey Maguire ones were kind of like, what?
Yeah, I don't know if the Tobey Maguire trilogy, well, in my opinion, if we're going back to the Tobey Maguire trilogy, I would rank them 2, 1, 3. But it'd be 2, 1, and then a gap in 3, I think. I thought the third one felt...
It was
because I might be wrong, but I feel like Sam Raimi was going to do 6 movies. I feel like I read that several years ago that he was going to do 6 movies, and when it got to the third one, and then it was kind of known that was going to be the end, he just put everything into it, like the different villains and stuff, and I don't know, I didn't like it because you didn't have any kind of character arc with any of the villains. Well, other than what I guess Harry Osborn or whatever.
But I mean, let's see, what was I gonna say? Shit. Yeah, with the third one, it seemed like it started to get kind of cheesy, especially with the whole cerebral thing with Venom.
Yeah.
Of how he acted when it took over him. It was just kind of Sam Raimi got kind of cheesy with that aspect of it.
Yeah.
And like I actually loved the movie Venom. It was good. Not Tom Holland. Oh God. Crap. What's his name?
Oh dear God.
That played Bane in Batman.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about.
Oh God.
This is not good.
But I mean, he did a good job. Like, it was legitimately making you feel like it was two different beings.
Don't you hate when you're recording a podcast and something you should know is slipping your mind at the moment when you need to know it?
Yeah. But just how they made it seem like a legitimate two people fighting with one another before they learn to get along with each other.
Mm-hmm. I like what he like brought to Venom. I like him being Venom. I think like the writing and the storyboard was kind of cheesy. But I like this actor whose name we cannot remember. This is gonna piss me off.
But they matched Eddie Brock up to what
Tom Hardy.
Yeah, I knew it was Tom something. That's why I mistaken it for Tom Holland. But
You're gonna think I'm lying when I say he's one of my favorite actors because I couldn't remember his name, but that's why it was irritating me.
But I mean, the physical aspect of his character was more to the way it should have been. Like, he was a bigger, more buff-looking, like football-like type looking player, not what he was in Spider-Man 3 with
Stop it, John.
That movie was so long ago.
Blinking?
He played Eric Foreman on That 70s Show.
Oh, keep talking. You keep talking. I will.
Topher Grace.
Topher Grace.
Yeah, how
Pete's sake.
How he was just like skinny and just how he looked there. I'm like, that's not Eddie. It's like even when I saw that for the first time, I was like, what is this? It's like, what? But that's why I liked it with Venom. They actually got it more to the way he should look, build wise.
Well, they're doing a sequel.
Yeah.
So hopefully they'll have some better writing.
Did that come out before Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah.
That's what I thought, because the post-credit scene pertained to Into the Spider-Verse, which was exactly scene from
with Carnage?
No, it was like the post, like the very, very end. That was like the one with Carnage was the mid-credit scene.
Oh, okay.
The post-credit scene, like after the credits, was like legitimately just like a scene from Into the Spider-Verse.
I'll have to check that out. I don't think
where it showed
that.
Peter Parker's grave and Miles was at his grave or whatever, and
what?
He came up behind him and like touched him on the shoulder. Where
Venom touched him on the shoulder?
No, Peter.
Peter from a different Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like that scene of it that it showed at the very end of Venom.
I did
after
not
the
know
credits.
that. I must have just not watched. I must have just saw the Carnage scene and turned it off.
Which Woody Harrelson would make a good Carnage. He can play a psychotic role.
Oh yeah. He was like the only good thing about War for the Planet of the Apes was Woody Harrelson's character. Man, that movie was a letdown. But that's getting off track. That trilogy could have been so good if that movie just would have held up, but I'll still watch it though.
Oh yeah.
So trying to stay on track here. Not doing a good job. Far From Home. I've mentioned this to you before. I did not know a lot about Mysterio. I knew next to nothing about Mysterio. I didn't know that he was like a master of illusions. I knew what he looked like, but really didn't know like anything about him. And so me like watching that, not knowing anything about that character, was awesome. It was awesome.
Like, for me, it was just an aspect of like especially the trailers that they released was just like, how are they gonna go with the character since I already knew about him, which he was in the Spider-Man game too.
Yeah, but haven't beaten it.
Well, I mean that wasn't actually that far into it, I don't think.
Again, I've gotten past the first boss fight. I've been spending a lot of time getting finding backpacks and stuff. But
yeah.
like, could you imagine how frustrating it, like when they're in the in that like abandoned building, and he's using those tricks on Peter. Could you imagine how frustrating that would be?
Oh yeah.
Like he drops MJ off of like the Eiffel Tower or whatever the heck they were on. I don't know, but he like drops her. So he dives after her, and in reality, he dove like 6 feet and smacked the concrete floor.
Yeah.
Oh man! But that whole scene, that's just, it's the stuff like that. I think it's because of his character, and like what Mysterio's all about, and then the way they did the movie, with the scenes with his illusion tricks. Like that's to me just what made it. Just one of obviously the best Spider-Man movie, but like really high up there in the MCU. If you were to go down the list, like it's, I mean, it's got to be top 5. But I don't know, I loved it. But maybe since not knowing anything about Mysterio, like maybe that made me love it more. If I had known about his character,
yeah,
you know, maybe it would have taken something away. I don't know, but maybe not. But man, it's great. I want to go see it again.
And the way they incorporated it with how he worked with Tony Stark and everything. Well, actually, how everybody that was a part of what he did worked for Tony at one time.
I love
or what's his face from the first Iron Man?
Yeah, the scientist guy.
Yeah, how oh my
Are you
God.
talking about the one that's working with Mysterio, or the villain?
The one that was working with him,
Yeah.
who was working for the guy who I think worked with Tony's dad originally.
Yeah, I think.
Who was trying to build the suit after Tony escaped the cave.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, how
he screamed at him. He built it in a freaking cave.
Yeah,
or something like that. Yeah.
What's the problem? Well, like, why is this taking so long? Tony Stark was able to build it in the cave.
Yeah. Yeah. That whole thing I liked a lot, and especially when they were showing. I don't want to keep calling him Mysterio when he's not Mysterio. At that
Quentin
moment.
Beck.
Yeah, Beck. When they were showing him the augmented reality thing, and how Stark had named it Barf.
Yeah.
And just how mad Jake Gyllenhaal or Quentin Beck was, like behind the curtain there. It was great that he elevated that character. Like also having Jake Gyllenhaal play him, because he also does a really good job playing somebody who is kind of on the fringe. Like he is about to go off the hinges. I think he does really well playing like that kind of role. So he killed it. He definitely like elevated it.
He did a great job. Like if you ever seen that movie Stronger, that was based off of the guy who his legs were blown off.
Yeah,
because
the
of
Boston Marathon.
Yeah, Boston Marathon. He did a fantastic job in that movie too.
Mm-hmm. He's a good actor.
That's why I'm curious to see how he'll do in that Division movie, since he's supposed to be like the main character.
That just tells me it's going to be great. Everything he touches gold.
Oh yeah.
And I recently learned that MJ is not Mary Jane.
Nah.
It's like Michelle something.
Yeah, it was like Michelle something. I forgot her last name.
But they still have, of course, all of them look different. Mary Jane doesn't look like what's her name, Zendaya, however you say her actual name. But the comic MJ doesn't look like the that reboot of Spider-Man's MJ, and then of course Flash Thompson looks nothing like Flash Thompson, but he's.
I think it's supposed to. I think her MJ is supposed to be kind of like a dedication to the character in general. I think, if I remember correctly, it's not actually MJ, but it's like a dedication to her, so they're calling her MJ. If I remember correctly, I might be wrong, but I remember hearing that somewhere.
I mean, like, I don't have any issue with it. Like, I think they've done really well. The Homecoming.
Which
I think my one big knock on that was like it was a little bit too politicized at points. But yeah, I mean I'm good with some, but I felt like they were kind of pushing something, and I was just like, because I'm kind of like I'm not one of those people that's like if this is the medium that I'm going for, I want politics out of it. Like no, I'm cool with you including it, but I just to a certain extent, man, I want my Spider-Man. So that was my only knock on that one, but with Homecoming.
Which also, one thing that played a major factor for Peter was Tony Stark taking the suit from him and saying, like, without the suit, who are you, basically?
Mm-hmm.
If you're Spider-Man, if you're only Spider-Man with the suit, then who are you? If you can't be Spider-Man without the suit, then you don't deserve to wear it at all, type thing. Kind of like it was with Iron Man. It's like,
yeah,
without the suit, what is he? It's like, that's why it's like he said, like, I am Iron Man. It's like that whole concept, and he made Peter learn that it's like even without the suit, he could still be Spider-Man. He doesn't need that suit to be that person.
I was watching the second Iron Man earlier today, and when he's talking to like Congress or whatever, whoever they're supposed to be, the whole like C-SPAN thing, they're trying to get the suit from Tony because they consider it like a weapon, and Tony says like, I am Iron Man. Iron Man is me. Like, we are one.
Yeah.
And yeah. Man, he freaking kills that character.
Oh, yeah.
God, I'm going to miss him.
Yeah.
Robert Downey did so good with Tony Stark. I mean, he just played him perfectly.
Because it was Brody trying to get the suit, wasn't it? Like, he was doing it per government issue to try to take the suit. Wasn't it?
Brody.
Yeah. Where they changed it from Terrence Howard to
Rhodey, right? Rhodey,
yeah. Whatever. Yeah, Rhodey.
Yeah, it's like Lieutenant Colonel Rhodes or something like that.
Yeah, Rhodes. Where it went from like Terrence Howard being the character to Don Cheadle.
Yeah.
I just remember one he was trying to get the suit because it was because of government orders.
Yeah. Yeah, well, when I was watching it, it seemed like he was kind of, because he started his whole thing talking about how, like, it is a weapon, blah, 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 but then he kept going. He was like, and then that's when I don't know if it was a congressman or who it was that they were talking to, he kept trying to cut him off and stop him, and Rhodey just, like, kept talking through about how, like, it probably would be smarter just to leave it with Tony Stark. But it was the Hammer Industries guy.
Yeah,
he was the one that I think was trying to get his hands on it, but he's kind of like a competing company with Stark Industries. But yeah, so
and to think that the very first Iron Man paved the way for every like MCU movie after it to be connected to that originally in some way, shape, or form.
The first Iron Man's in my top 5.
And how...
I probably have like 12 movies in my top 5. If I was being honest. It's a lot of ties.
Especially with... I love it in Endgame how they brought it full circle to his conclusion in the universe. Mm-hmm. With the I am Iron Man and then the snap. Where he did the snap. It was like the perfect way to send off his character.
Yeah. How about the memorial in the beginning of Far From Home? The in memoriam video.
Oh,
in the school.
Yeah.
I thought that was great.
You got Spider-Man just kind of standing there like that in the suit. He's just.
Yeah, when he was at the benefit thing, yeah, that was good too. He was so awkward. That's why I love Tom Holland, man. He does it so well because Peter Parker, he's a nerdy like high school kid. Yeah, he's socially awkward.
That doesn't know when to stop talking. That is Peter Parker. He is Peter Parker. I mean, it's like that's the thing. It's like they said between the different actors who's portrayed Peter Parker, it's like. you've got Topher. Oh, yeah, no.
Andrew Garfield.
Oh God,
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire, who was like, he was a good Peter Parker. He did talk a lot and resembled Peter Parker a lot. And then Andrew Garfield was just like, he was way too quiet to be Peter Parker. And then Tom Holland is like the absolute Peter Parker. It's like he nails every aspect of him, and including the whole of he never stops talking. He just always talking, even if it's to himself.
What's his friend's name?
Ned.
Ned. Okay.
The man in the chair. Was it the guy in the chair? Yeah.
In the Miles Morales storyline or whatever, like he also, his best friend is also an Asian guy, but I think his name's like Genki or something.
Yeah.
I don't really know how you say it, but I'm pretty sure it's like Ganke. But just like in Into the Spider-Verse. Oh, that was one. So as I'm reading the storyline with Miles Morales, like when you watch Into the Spider-Verse, his roommate, who I'm assuming is supposed to be Genki, because that's his like best friend and becomes his roommate when he gets accepted into like the Visions Academy or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean that's his dude. That's who he talks to. It's who he like. You know, it's really like the only person that he opens up to. Well, him and his uncle, aka Prowler. But then in the movie, like he had like no role in Into the Spider-Verse, nothing.
He probably will in the second one because obviously they do.
But you don't like. I at least wish they could have shown like how close they are. But it's like his roommate just kind of does his own thing and he does his own thing and they don't really communicate. Like I've seen that movie a lot. I love that movie. That's what got me into reading that whole storyline was that movie. I wanted to know more about him.
That character, Miles Morales, is actually in the Spider-Man game as well. You actually get to play as him in the game as well.
Spoiler.
Well, I mean, the game's been out so long, but same with this movie and any other Marvel movie that's been talked about. So it's like, spoiler warning, but by now it's like, if it hasn't been spoiled by YouTube or any form of social media, then you're doing a damn good job of staying away from some spoilers. If you've yet to see it.
I do pretty well. I know what content to click on.
I mean, even like YouTube now, you could be scrolling through it like on your phone too. It's like all of a sudden, bam, the title of a video that you're scrolling past could just be like, what? Granted, some of them are clickbait, some of them are like legit, but yeah.
So 1 to 10, Far From Home was like a 10.5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think we can agree with that. I like the whole Happy and Aunt May dynamic.
Oh yeah.
I think that's good for the series.
Oh yeah.
I like Happy's character, like period.
Which actually, how he was the one who actually did the original Iron Man.
Mm-hmm.
And John Farva, I think his name, Farva.
Yeah.
But yeah. And he also actually did one of the other Disney movies. Was it Jungle Book or something like that? I believe, or something like that. It was one of those movies, and he also did the latest Lion King.
So he's bouncing all around Disney Studios.
If he's not in the movie, he has a part with the production or director aspect of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
If he's not in front of the camera, he's behind the camera. He's one of those guys, busy no matter what, which is good.
This is clearly the most attractive Aunt May that we've ever had. Well, I mean, that's why she's the most attractive. I'm not into gilfs, John.
Which, I mean,
do not check my internet history.
But I mean, it's the youngest Peter Parker as well, too. So I mean,
well, in the movies,
yeah.
Well, actor wise, but all of them have been high school kids.
Oh yeah, but I mean, he looks more the role versus like
Yeah.
you having a 30-year-old playing a part of a guy that's in his teens.
Yeah.
Well, was the Andrew Garfield one actually technically in high school, or was he out of high school working?
I thought they showed scenes in school with Andrew
Or was
Garfield.
it just the first one? Because they did like what, 2?
There was a fight scene in the hallways of a school in one of those movies.
And the Andrew Garfield?
Yeah.
It's
I want to say
been
the second
a
one.
while since I've seen those.
Yeah, those are the ones I'm least fresh on, I guess.
And the last one, Wade had, was it Electro?
Yeah. Jamie Foxx.
Yeah, Jamie Foxx.
Did not like that. Did not like that Electro. You know what they should have done? Put him in his green and yellow suit. That's what they should have done. I'm kidding. They shouldn't have done that. Have you seen his suit? Google it right
No.
now. Google Electro.
But I
Comic
mean,
book,
like,
Google it now.
like that's what I loved about Spider-Man: Homecoming is they had Shocker's suit down. It was like legitimately black and yellow. It's like they had that, which I don't remember what that guy's name was that took over as Shocker after the other guy got vaporized into thin air when Vulture shot him with the gun because he got pissed off with him because he failed. And he said, "You're the new Shocker," and tossed it to him. Like, I know in the game, his name was like Herman, I believe.
I probably need to
I think
re-up.
it was.
I'm probably due for a re-up on Homecoming.
But yeah, I mean,
So I think I've just been thinking as we were talking. I kept mentioning talking about Far From Home, and that was obviously misleading. Because I think we just wanted to come into this and talk about Spider-Man, like all the movies. Well, maybe I did mention that. I don't remember.
no,
But anyway,
you did mention it.
Okay.
About
If
all
I was
of them,
misleading,
including-
thinking we were just going to talk about, I think Far From Home was the first thing I wanted to kind of touch on.
Yeah.
But
But you said also
I was
like
kinda
the other,
thinking about
just
that.
as a whole too, along with
okay,
Far From Home.
Yeah, I did mention. Yeah, talking about all of them. One of the things I'm going to work on, man. I'm going to get better at this podcast thing.
Yeah, like the
But
whole.
anyway,
What was that cartoon where you'd be talking, all of a sudden, squirrel.
I always think of Up when someone makes a joke like that.
It
When,
was
when
like
the dog is talking and he's just like, "Oh, squirrel."
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Is
It's
that
like,
just
it's
where that
just-
comes from? Is it everybody thinking of Up when they make that joke?
I mean, that's what I'm
That's just-
referring to when I do
okay.
it.
Yeah. All right. That makes sense then.
Because
That's
of
why I
how
think of it.
easily distracted you get when you're on a topic, and it's like you think of another thing, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, like as you're talking about it, you'll mention something, and then it's like, speaking of, and then it just kind of goes and goes and goes. But yeah, if I mentioned talking about, well, I mean, I did. I remember doing it, but
Yeah.
talking about all of it, then yeah, I just want to. I didn't want to be misleading, but I definitely wanted to touch on Far From Home first. Basically, I mean, I don't claim to be some
Expert.
like I'm not the person you want to go to for like your movie reviews. I'm pretty much going to tell you like I liked it or I didn't like it, and stuff like
mean-
that, and I'll get a little bit more in depth, but you know.
I mean, that's essentially what a movie review is. It's like you talk about the
Yeah.
movie, give
when you
your
read-
input on it, and
When you read some of the reviews and stuff, people just kind of see things that I don't see. I mean, when I read it, I'm like, oh yeah, but as I'm watching it, I just don't look at it that way. So yeah, so when we talk about movies, like we'll get into it a little bit, and I'll just say like it was great, I loved it, or no, I'll probably never watch it again. I don't really care for it. But this new like Tom Holland reboot of Spider-Man, I'm all over it.
oh yeah, and how they set up for the third one too. And I loved how they ended the first two of them with the same reaction. With the first one being Aunt May when she finds out that
Mhm.
Peter is Spider-Man,
Mhm.
and then Peter's reaction when, spoiler warning, for the post credits. Well,
See, it's shit like that I
mid-credit-
don't think about.
mid credit
That's
scenes.
exactly what I'm talking about.
When the credit scene when he drops MJ off because she says she hates it and doesn't want to do it again, flying through the city. When
And then
old J. Jonah Jameson comes in and Quentin Beck basically made a video framing Peter of his murder and everything that happened.
and then revealing his identity.
Yeah, and JJ like revealed his identity, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. See, yeah. So that's what I'm talking about. Like when you started talking about it, I knew exactly where you were going with it. But as I'm watching the movie, I didn't put that together. But right when you brought it up, I was like, oh yeah. Doesn't she like open a door or something to his room and like
she
drops
was
stuff and
she was standing in front of the door like about to like talk to him about something, and he just took the mask off, and she's like, "What the?"
Yeah.
And it cuts to the credits, and
that is just amazing how you did that. Just give an example right after I said it.
But it's just, I wonder if they'll do anything with the whole like Sinister Six, because of the way the post credit was for Homecoming. Because they set it up for it because of how what's his face from Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul was in prison, and he had a scar on his face and whatnot, and was talking to Vulture at that prison scene. It's like the post credit scene.
Are we talking about Saul from Better Call Saul?
No, the Hispanic guy. I forgot his name. Not Nacho. I forgot his name.
Because I'm trying to remember that. Man, I really gotta watch Homecoming again.
But yeah, it was like him, and he talks to Vulture because they pass each other like in the hall of the prison or whatnot. But like that setting up. They set that up for something, but then obviously then you had Endgame, Infinity War, then Endgame, and then Far From Home. So it's like nothing happened of that post-credit scene.
Yeah.
Unless it just hasn't come up yet.
Well, with some stuff that I've read, and we talked about this right before we started recording, the communication between like Sony and Marvel has kind of been a little bit on the fritz. It's just kind of, I don't know, they're not really linking up like they should. So storylines are they're a little bit messy if you really kind of look into it.
Yeah.
So yeah, maybe it'll come.
Which I mean, with Marvel and Sony coming into agreement and whatnot, that's how we have Spider-Man and Peter Parker in the MCU in the first place.
Yeah.
It's because they were finally able to come to an agreement to like borrow the rights to it, to actually have it in their film, in their universe, which I'm glad for, because I mean he is a part of the Avengers anyway.
Yeah. Originally,
so.
And then, I mean, could you imagine not having Peter Parker and the relationship between Tony Stark?
Oh yeah.
And Peter Parker like not being a thing in the Avengers movies, and then consequently not being a thing in the Spider-Man movies either.
Yeah.
Like, man, that would have been such a different route. So I'm thankful we got that.
Which in Far From Home, like, yeah, when he was creating his, was it a third suit? No, fourth. Technically would be his fourth suit, I think. Yeah, it'd be technically his fourth suit that he creates in the last half of the movie. When he's doing that, it's like Happy sees just how much of an influence Tony had on Peter and how much of a mentor he was to him. Because, like, essentially, the way Peter did, especially with the, what was it? I forgot what you'd call it. Where he just kind of reached down like that, and it was like a illusion of what the piece would be on his arm, and like tweaking on it, just like Tony Stark did, like in his exact thing for the Iron Man suit. So I was like happy seeing that. It was just like flashbacks to Tony.
Yep, man, that those two scenes, the one in the beginning when he sees like the mural. That one wasn't as bad, but then the one on the jet,
Yeah.
that one got me.
Which that one was kind of like the beginning was for like all of them, like that had apparently fallen.
No, I mean when Peter Parker goes on the roof and he sees like the mural.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that. Because I know like in school they had like a video that they played.
Yeah,
in
yes, that's
honor
what we
of,
talked
like,
about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. But just so that it's hard to get sad during that because they made it look like a bunch of high schoolers made it. High schoolers that had kind of just gotten into that whole thing,
Yeah.
computer
Film.
editing stuff.
Which I mean essentially is exactly that. So I mean, it had to be cheesy somewhat.
There are definitely high schoolers that could do much better than that.
Oh yeah.
That's why I'm saying it's like high schoolers that like just joined the AV club or whichever club it is.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that it was hard to be sad during that because it was just uber cheesy, and I mean obviously that was the direction they wanted it to be, but yeah, so couldn't be sad during that. It was too funny.
Oh yeah.
But the mural and then on the jet when well both of them I was gonna say Peter, but both of them Peter and Happy kind of getting teary eyed and all choked up.
And then how he said he'd put on the music, and he started playing like what was it, AC/DC,
Yeah, he was like, I love Def Leppard.
or was it no Led Zeppelin one?
Sure.
Something like that. It was
I think
one
it was
of
Led
the,
Zeppelin.
It was one of those two. He goes, I love. Yeah, it was like I think it was like Led Zeppelin. It's like I love Led Zeppelin, and it's like it's not Led Zeppelin. It's like he got it wrong, but like he just loves that type of music though. It's like the classic rock, like Tony. But it was funny. And I was ecstatic when I found out that old J.K. Simmons would be reprising his role as J. Jonah Jameson.
Yeah, that was fun. And it's
more of the Spider-Man, like Insomniac's Spider-Man game version of JJ instead of the original Tobey Maguire JJ at the Daily Bugle. He's more like a one that does like radio talk shows and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. Kind of like how he breaking news from J. Jonah Jameson, like it does in the game.
Yeah, I like how it's with the times. It's like a podcast type deal.
Yeah,
it's not a newspaper. He's not an editor-in-chief at a newspaper or whatever. So I'm cool with that. But anything, J.K. Simmons.
Yeah,
I'm for it, and bringing him back as J. Jonah, that was good stuff.
Which one thing I have thought of, wished that as like a credit scene that could possibly lead up to a perfect entrance to Matt Murdock into the universe of Marvel.
I was talking to...
Because he is in Hell's Kitchen in New York, so... Yeah. And at this point, like, Peter Parker could use a hell of a lawyer to help protect him and whatnot.
Oh, that's true.
Legally.
Yeah.
And it would be a perfect chance for them to bring in Matt Murdock and the whole Daredevil aspect into the MCU.
Just quick side note, different location. I'm still kicking my microphone. But no, that's a good point. That's a really good link.
And the thing with like the Netflix agreement with Marvel was after they canceled the series on Netflix, it was like they couldn't use the character or the story or anything like that for like 2 years after the show ended. So it's like by the time the next Spider-Man would be set to release or be available, it's like they would be able to contract wise actually bring Matt Murdock into it for the third Spider-Man, so that he could be introduced into it.
When we post this, we're tagging Marvel.
Yeah,
because if they haven't thought of that idea, they should. They showed that.
So,
That's
I
really.
mean-
I like that idea a lot. That's probably the best thing you've ever said in your entire life. But that would. God, man, I hit it again. It's kind of been my thing that I just like hit the microphone, but with this little shock absorber thingy.
Yeah, the shock mount.
Yeah. Hopefully it won't be
I
an
didn't
issue.
hear nothing.
Good. You can see it wobbling though.
I think with the other mic though, it was because it was just a regular mic
Yeah,
holder,
just a
so
little mic,
you heard
yeah.
the thunk. Every
That's
time.
that's what I'm famous for. Thunk. No, man, I like that a lot. Yeah, I think that'd be great. Bring in like Daredevil into
Which-
it. Which Daredevil needs, I think, some. He needs like retribution. Because
yeah.
the Ben Affleck thing, man,
Oh yeah.
I was not. I wasn't a fan. I didn't even like it when it came out, and I was pretty much into anything
Which I mean,
superhero at that point. I was so young.
yeah. Which I mean, it could also bring in Wilson Fisk into the universe too as a villain locally for the Spider-Man series for a villain too.
Mm-hmm.
Because I mean,
Well, they could do that without Daredevil.
I mean, if you introduce one, it'd be smart to do both. Cause like,
I mean, I'm all for doing both.
because I mean, like, Daredevil and Spider-Man did fight together against like enemies too, since they live in the same city, just
Mhm.
different parts. But
What if Spider-Man was also a part of the Defenders? He's an Avenger and a Defender. And a high school kid.
that would be something.
That is a busy life.
But it would be perfect for it, and like that would be a good way. They could also, if they wanted to, bring in Wilson Fisk as a bad guy, since the Spider-Man movies are not as large of a threat villain-wise as like the whole Avenger movies and
If
protecting
they,
the universe aspect of things.
if they bring in Fisk, I want them to keep. He's got like an interesting name, Vincent D'Onofrio. The guy that played him in the show?
On the Netflix series?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They have to keep him because man, he was good.
Charlie Cox played a good Daredevil too, but I don't think they would keep him as.
Yeah, I'd like to see them keep him too.
But I don't think they would. I don't think there's been any talks of him doing any further like roles as Matt Murdock.
Then you could bring Punisher.
That too.
There's so much stuff you could do with that.
Oh yeah.
I'm getting you a job with Marvel.
Which I mean, you look at it. I mean, Daredevil brought in Frank Castle and the whole Punisher character into that TV show. So
Mhm.
I mean, it is doable.
I would not want that actor though. I don't remember his name.
John. It started with a B. The last name that played Frank Castle in the series.
Yeah, but yeah, that one.
I liked the show
series
though.
Frank Castle.
That was a brutal
Yeah.
show. I mean, Frank Castle is a brutal character, like the
Yeah.
Punisher, but I mean, they definitely did not hold back on graphics.
Alright, okay. So we've been talking about stuff kind of joining Spider-Man. Daredevil would be a really good one. I'm definitely on board with that. But Deadpool, their comic storylines are pretty great.
Yeah.
Having Deadpool in with Spider-Man, and with what Ryan Reynolds has done with Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
But they don't. But see that.
Which they do have a third one coming out of that.
Yeah, that the way that Disney is kind of, because it is Disney, you can't have Punisher or Deadpool in it. Like their characters, all that stuff is too violent. So you'd have to either dumb it down or just not do it. And I think I'd rather just not do it than to have to dumb down like either one of them. As far as like the violence and stuff.
Like, come to think about it, like, not trying to jump off of like Marvel, but like when it comes to like Star Wars, with it being Disney now, I don't think I've seen them actually since episode 7. I don't think anybody has lost a limb in the Star Wars movie since
That's
Disney
gonna be
took it over.
something. I'll dive into that. I'll go back and check the movie. That's one thing that I always make time for is to watch movies.
Because I don't think they have incorporated that. Like all the other ones have.
Yeah, some
like Luke
dismemberment
and Anakin have been.
Homeboy getting cut in half.
And Darth Maul
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's like literally losing limbs or half your body. It's like I don't think since Disney has had it.
Oh, and frickin' Anakin like just on fire.
Oh, he gets
sitting there just melting.
Legs, arms,
yeah,
just lava.
Yeah, there's definitely been nothing like that. I'll have to go back and look. I know there's been people shot and stuff and
but I mean,
and killed. But
hit with a lightsaber and stuff like that. But it's like it just left like especially
which one is the
Kylo Ren with the mark on his face from the fight he had with Rey in Episode 8. I mean, that's the worst they've shown is like just burns, permanent burns on your body from it, but never actual.
Django getting his head cut off.
Oh yeah, that was
Mace Windu.
That was what, Episode 2, I think.
That was Django, right? Django's the son. Boba's the dad. I always get them mixed up.
No, Jango Fett was the father. Boba Fett was the son who took over as being.
Right. Yeah, so it's episode 2, which is Django. Boba gets thrown into the little sand monster thing. He falls off the ship. Yeah. Man, that's why I get confused because of the timeline of the movies and whatever.
Well, you just got to remember, like, 4, 5, and 6 were back in, like, the 70s. Started out in the 70s. And then you had the prequels, which were 1, 2, and 3 that led up to episode 4. And then now when Disney took over, it was 7, 8, and now going to be 9.
Yeah. The whole like Boba Django thing that confuses me is because we saw the son first, and then we see the dad, and the dad comes after, and that's why I always get them mixed up.
You just gotta remember like that technically
decapitation.
I completely forgot about that. He was in the original trilogy.
Good old Nick Fury cutting his head off.
I completely forgot about that.
But yeah, so I'm gonna go back and look at them because nothing comes off, and even in the even with like Rogue One and Solo.
Yeah, which
I don't even know if that's
not in the timeline of the movies. It's kind of like in between the timelines of the actual episodes that they've done. So it's like, yeah. Like, I know Rogue One was set in between, I believe it was, 3 and 4, I think it was.
Yeah, I think so. I think that's right.
And Han Solo would have been, I guess, episode 4?
Was it between 3 and 4 or 4 and 5?
Because it was when, what was it? I've got that movie. I've got both of them.
What's the question?
It's been a while since I've seen it. Wasn't the Han Solo movie? Wasn't that how he met the Chewbacca and whatnot? And basically befriended.
Yeah, they were both
each other.
Weren't they both prisoners when they met?
Oh yeah, because crap. Chewbacca tried killing him at first. Which is why, they were both prisoners because he got thrown in that pit with Chewbacca, which he was supposed to be killed by.
Yeah.
But he didn't. And he helped him escape. He said, if you don't kill me, I'll help you actually get out of here. Yeah. So, yeah, that had to have been before episode 4, too. That should have been technically, like, in between. Well, before episode 4, regardless. Because didn't episode 4 have Han Solo? In the originals? I don't know how far of a time jump it would have been from how old he was in the old original ones with Harrison Ford versus how young he was when he first met Chewbacca.
Yeah. I don't remember if he was in 4. Those are movies I've seen them a lot, but I haven't seen them in a while.
Like I have all of them except I still need to get The Last Jedi. I say only one I still don't have, but I have seen it. But all the rest of them I do have.
Mm-hmm.
Cause I love Star Wars.
Yeah, definitely on a future podcast we're gonna dive into that.
Oh yeah.
Because Star Wars is great, and the new game they got coming out.
Oh yeah. And I mean this. Like most people that don't think about it is Star Wars is so much a bigger universe than the whole Skywalker saga that's been made for the movies, that the movies have always been about. It's like Star Wars goes so far beyond all of that. So I mean, just because like Episode 9 would be technically the last one ending the Skywalker saga, it's like that wouldn't be the end of the franchise as a movies.
Let's do this. Let's tease. All right, the next episode we can make it about Star Wars.
I'm down.
And then, so what we're talking about now is just a little teaser.
Teaser.
Little hanging some bait out in front of you.
But
I'd like to talk about that.
Oh yeah, I love talking about Star Wars.
How big are you in Lord of the Rings?
Oh, I love Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit.
We'll do one with the Hobbit trilogy and the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Only thing I didn't like about Lord of the Rings, just real quick, was how they ended Fellowship of the Ring when it was a theatrical release in the theaters.
More on that in 2 weeks.
I love that movie, but it pissed me off so bad when I was in the theater. It's just like, you're in the middle of the movie and all of a sudden it cuts black this Christmas. It's like, what the fuck? Don't miss Lord of the Rings, The Two Towers. I'm like, what the hell just happened? And then I got it on DVD and it had an actual ending. I'm like, why didn't you do this in the theater?
Did you see the re-release
of what?
of Endgame?
No, I did not see the
20
re-release.
minutes of extra footage or whatever.
20. I thought the re-release was just gonna be like the tribute to Stan Lee, which I saw that, which they actually should have actually kept that as like another credit scene.
Yeah.
Because that was like a post-credit scene. They should have left it in because that was after the clanking of Tony Stark in the cave when it showed the Marvel picture at the end of it. They should have actually left that in because then it went straight to the Stan Lee tribute right after that part.
Did you see Captain Marvel?
I did not.
Well, I'm just gonna tell you that Stan Lee cameo.
I do need to go back and watch Captain
Marvel. That Stan Lee
Marvel.
cameo is probably like my favorite Stan Lee cameo.
Because basically when...
And I guess, is it really a cameo if he's dead? I don't think he was alive when they shot that.
No, he was.
Was he?
I think Endgame was the final... I think Endgame was the final
no,
one.
it's a CGI because he's younger.
Yeah.
He's younger in Captain Marvel. That's why it was CGI'd. Anyway.
Yeah.
You need to watch Captain Marvel strictly for the Stan Lee cameo. Also, it's a good movie.
It looked like it was good, but when I had the money to go see the obviously, because around here Regal is so freaking expensive for one ticket, but when I had the money to go to the movies again, get popcorn, drink, and all that good stuff.
Now I'm wondering if I'm thinking of the right movie.
Avengers Endgame had just released, so it's like which I still want to see John Wick 3 too. I never got to see that, but that's on a side note. But
we'll do a John Wick episode too.
I love the John Wick movies.
Yeah, they're good.
But it was between Captain Marvel or Endgame. I'm just like, from what I've seen from the trailers of Captain Marvel, it's like that doesn't play a humongous role in what happens leading up to Endgame. So it's like I could miss Captain Marvel and not be lost.
It's more or less just the introduction of her character.
Yeah,
because she is,
which is pretty much what I figured. It just might be small details
and the Kree. The Kree become important.
Yeah, and like that's what I was gonna go into too with the Spider-Man movie.
Yeah,
at the very end.
Yep.
Way they revealed themselves to not be Nick Fury and what's her face.
Yep.
which I knew who they were from the trailers, but like my wife was like, "What?" So it's like I was explaining to her, it's like they were in the Captain Marvel movie. It's like which played a part of where Nick Fury actually was, because the way it showed him up in space in a ship, with more of that race, I guess you would call them.
The Kree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
On obviously, there's which obviously there would be a bigger threat coming that has yet to be teased at or announced or anything like that. So if there's something much, much bigger that he was focused on than to actually be there for Peter and Far From Home.
Oh no. Where are we? Does it give you a timer?
No.
Does not give you a timer.
But yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, there's no minimum or maximum for time, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think this might be a pretty good cutoff point. I do need to get back to my babies.
Yeah.
Next weekend is not my weekend, so if we're able to link up next Saturday, then
Oh yeah,
4-hour pod, baby.
Which, I mean, like I said,
I'd even be down to live stream it.
I mean, it's technically a push of a button. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah. I know you got it all set up to where it's just
Yeah.
easy peasy lemon squeezy. But yeah, like I'd be, cause I don't care. Like I'm actually, I'm really interested in hopefully getting feedback
Yeah.
to see like where we can improve, because I know we can.
Good. Like I said, I actually may not use this camera next time and just use that one, because I think that might be part of the problem. Because I have to have that other program open for this camera. But so next time I may just use this one, just move it over there, and just move it back when I'm done for my own like streams and stuff.
Right.
But I was testing it with this one on this podcast, being the first one. Yeah, because it's gonna be. I'll post it like on my YouTube channel and upload it to Twitch, so the more people will see it, and I'll share it on Twitter and everything.
Oh, I'm gonna share it religiously. People are gonna be like, "You guys suck." I'm like, I don't care. Watch it.
Yeah.
And do your plugins?
Yeah.
Plug it in. Oh, I'm going first?
If you want to.
Well, yeah,
I looked at you because it sounded like your stomach.
My stomach is growling.
Which, I mean, we were going to get pizza.
Fat boy gotta eat.
Oh,
I think I'm actually going to do that back home.
What?
I think I'm going to stop and get a pizza.
Alright.
Because I gotta feed the old girlfriend as well.
Yeah.
Well, so for one thing that I want to say first, is that, yep, right there. There we go. If the only thing I get out of this podcast is a sponsorship from Body Armor, then that'll be perfect. I love this stuff.
That always messes with me when you talk about that drink, Body Armor.
Every practice recording we did, I think I had one.
Because I'm so used to, like, because I'm big into Under Armour. So, like, when you say Body Armor, it screws with me. I'm like, what? Oh, right, not Under Armour. You mean that.
See, I mean, I'd be down to get, like, free Under Armour gear, too. But, man, I would much rather have free Body Armor. Because I'll order the cases off of either Amazon or I'll get it from Sam's Club. Amazon will kind of run some specials sometimes, so I'll get it from them. But if not, then I just grab it from Sam's Club.
Yeah.
It's just a big-ass case.
Have you ever tried the G Fuel, like, energy drinks?
No, I haven't.
I really want to. Yeah. Because, I mean, I know a lot of people
I'm going to order some tonight.
Like, I know a lot of people that are sponsored by them, that stream and stuff like that. So, it's like, it's always made me wonder, like, how good they are as a energy drink.
So we're going for Body Armor, Under Armour, and G Fuel. Those are the 3 sponsorships that we are aiming for, and we're gonna get it.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I'd love to have free stuff. Okay, well, for me, Twitter, at Infamous Wannabe. I said it earlier in the podcast because maybe you've fallen asleep at this point.
Hopefully not.
Yeah,
Hopefully not.
Especially not the execs over at Body Armor. But yeah, that's really all I got is the Twitter thing. John is much more active than me, so mine gets out of the way real quick, and go ahead and tell him.
All right. You can follow me at MusicianGamer76 on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. You could find my link on the Twitter page. It'll take you to my Twitch, and I have a panel section that has like all the.
I'm sorry.
Good Lord, that has all the panels for my Twitter, my YouTube, and all that. If you guys can go check out. If you enjoy the content, make sure you hit that follow button. If you on the YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. That's where I will be posting these podcasts on the YouTube channel and on the Twitch channel. And as soon as we can finish getting the logo completed, I will also be posting it on its own YouTube channel. And yeah, trying to post it everywhere we can to get more eyes and ears on it and bring more people in, and would love to start streaming it as well and kind of get people's input and get the chat going, get people asking questions, or get people in the conversation like we were having with Spider-Man and everything.
Mm-hmm. Man, it'd be awesome to have like a chat, like when you're doing your Twitch stream.
Yeah, live chat.
Yeah, and just kind of be able to respond like as we're doing it. That'd be great.
And when we live stream it, I will probably actually just live stream it from my personal channel as well, which then I could just upload the VOD from it to YouTube as well.
All stuff I know nothing about, but I'm with you.
Which, I mean, also, like, with the doing a podcast live, we could do the portion of it, kind of like, in a sense, like Markiplier, Bob and Wade does, because they have a podcast they do on Twitch, where they do the podcast portion of the stream, and then after that, they just kind of, like, go into playing video games. So, we could do that, and just, like, I could cut the VOD off when we start playing games, if we did that aspect of it, too. When it comes to streaming it, it's like we could do something like that if we had the time. If not, we could just like stream the podcast and then end the stream at the end of the podcast. Either or, I'm down for either.
I just like being in front of a camera, so whatever we do, I'm down for it.
Oh yeah, and I'm also trying to get back into making more content for YouTube as well, because it's been a while since I've done a whole lot with YouTube. Because obviously when I started working where we work now and live streaming, yeah, I kind of ran out of time for creating stuff for YouTube, but I'm making time to try to get back into doing that.
John and I work together, and I can totally vouch that you will be tired at the end of a shift.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in the summertime when that warehouse gets to like 120 degrees. It is probably against labor laws. But
yeah. Which I forgot to mention also, when it comes to Twitch, I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday starting at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And sometimes I will stream on the weekends. Time to be announced, since those are extra streams. So whenever we do live streams there, which we should still do like a group live stream again sometime or another, if Joe would be up for it.
Yeah, I think Joe.
If not, it could just be the two of us again.
He'd be down for that, definitely. Just not the podcast for now.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I know the last time we did a group live stream, it started out with just you and me.
Yeah, he came in late.
And then he was like, oh, well, hey.
He was watching us and was like, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah. Then he came in and then left early, and we kept going or whatnot.
Yeah.
I'd love for it to be all three of us, but if he's not able to, he could just be the both of us, either or. But
I'm down for the cause.
oh yeah,
And again, I mean, next weekend I have a lot more free time. So
oh yeah.
unless we start overtime, that's gonna piss me off.
I don't
think we are next week.
I don't see why we would. I mean, I know
Yeah.
they're getting a lot more coils in, but I don't know why they'd be working more overtime. But oh,
Well, thanks for checking out the first episode of the podcast. So we think that we're just gonna talk until we don't want to talk anymore. I mean, I guess we'll try to keep it within a respectable time frame, but we're not shooting for like an hour and a half, like anything specific. Just
No.
kind of
just kind of going with it.
okay.
Whatever we feel.
Again,
Because I mean,
figuring it out as we go through it.
Because I mean, we do. Like, we'll talk about the main subject, like Spider-Man was this time, and then veer off into different subjects too, which
You almost wouldn't know what the main subject was because of how much veering we actually do.
well, this episode, yeah, because also being a first episode, kind of background on us, and then
Yep.
going into the subjects. But yeah,
So I mean, if you're checking us out on YouTube and you can't finish, just click that watch later.
or add it to your favorites list and come back later.
And then make sure you finish it, because I think the end is where they really get good.
Oh yeah, and make sure you hit that like button if it's on YouTube.
Yep.
But thank
All
you
right.
all so much for hanging out, checking out the podcast, and we will definitely do another one next weekend. Then, since
Yeah,
you
I
said you'll
think-
have more time,
Yep, I'm free next weekend, next Saturday. We could do one.
Awesome. Most definitely.
All right. The inaugural episode of the Try Hard Entertainment Podcast.
First ever episode.
First ever posted episode. So yeah, first episode that you guys get.
Yeah.
So thanks for checking us out. Hope
Thank-
you enjoyed it. Not afraid of criticism, feedback. We wanna like be good at this and give you guys information and entertainment
Oh yeah.
that you seek. So I mean, if you tell us that we suck, at least tell us why.
Exactly. So we can work on those weak points and get better at it.
Yeah. But that's all I got. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you all for hanging out, listening, watching, and we'll see you in the next episode of the podcast. Thank you all. Good night.